I want to go to the surface again. YASD said that it was the most touching. Murfreesboro thought it was the saddest too, and Sir Lewin was originally struck by her picture. Her sad staring eyes present a very complicated distress within her. Jaddison too was most moved upon entering her chamber, just the way the music, the forge, her kneeling down in front of the fire all blend together. All very disconcerting, but then the way her resolve to punish herself breaks when her third heart is opened is what sealed the vote for these two. As Jaddison says, she originally accepts her fate and then wants a second chance when she finds it's actually obtainable. Out of all of the thoughts and actions of the sisters, it's the one that just seems the most human. Furthering this notion of change, poster No Mods No Masters gave an enormous response. He proposes that the problems that plagued the original world that the Sleeper inhabited were, at least in part, due to his own mistakes. In order to save it from slipping down further, it needs to be remade fundamentally different. For this, the sister not only requires strength, but also requires the capacity to change. Real people are constantly changing, but the game recognises this and sort of plays off it. Each of the sisters is more of a set-defined personality in preparation for whatever will come next. They need to be stoic and consistent in order for us to appreciate them as they are now. Deviating from this established norm, even if you base that purely on one line of dialogue, is crucially important. Especially when she was the one making such a big fuss about powerlessness and hunger in the first place. Metal Meltdown again identifies one of the other aspects of change. If you undergo trials and overcome them, it can only have a serious impact on you if you recognize what you've had to do in order to see it through. Savage Gentleman also wants to give her a chance, even though she appears insane and could very easily go back to a similar state. The way that she can reflect on her own life, combined with her clear, energetic nature and creativity, could create an absolutely fantastic world. The brilliance that can arise through a fiery nature are summed up by Lopside, who says that while it may be crazy and unfounded, it's also insanely brave. She's put up with the fire for so long without succumbing to it, so we should give her the opportunity to escape. This is brought to a wonderful conclusion by Chloro, who identifies with a sudden realization that something matters to you. Whether it's to do with life or love or anything else, these sorts of experiences can give someone the drive that they can apply to everything that they do afterwards. Since I stumbled into Echo anyway, I thought it would be polite to see whether she had anything more to say, and clearly not. Now I am going to head to the Moorage Garden and actually plant some trees, because I don't think I remembered to earlier on in this playthrough. As you saw in the Twist Garden, there are a couple of gardens that have rejuvenated themselves, but I gave myself the condition of not reusing trees, since you shouldn't have to, and it was impossible in the Russian version. On to Ema now. She is pretty much the pinnacle of specific reasons for casting a particular vote. As we move on through the sisters, you'll find that the factors become more general, as each person identifies something different in them. With Ema, all but one of the votes had something to do with the pendulum hanging above her head. Falados starts off by voting for her because she's certainly the worst off physically. Hug Me Forever also mentioned her circumstances, and he also noted the fact that what she says is meaningful, and lots of people also commented on the fact that the words that she said actually had some use to us, and could continue to do so in the future. Jadestar likes to be the knight in shining armour. Ema is in the tallest tower and tied to some sort of sacrificial slab. What more do you want? To which the answer is obviously a big old dragon.
No regret, I am the colour of your power and fame.
Joshingo said that her desperate situation tugged at his heartstrings, and also that she would know what to do if she was chosen. I suppose this stems from Spooky Turtle's point that she hasn't withheld anything and seems to have been completely honest, so she can't be hiding any ignorance as the others might be doing. He also makes the point that all the other sisters have these implied dangers at all times, as does Ema, but she also has the physical hazard directly in front of her, which is made all the more terrifying by its uniqueness. Desumata makes the excellent point that her pendulum is exactly the same one that swings when a sister is chosen during the witch hunt. It could imply that whatever the brothers truly fear inside the sisters is contained specifically within Ima, and so it'd be very interesting to find out what that is. Meat Gets Dirty was saddened by the thought of Ima getting cut in half, and Amidiri didn't think it was fair that her life purely consisted of being strapped to a tower, maybe when all the other sisters have plenty of room to move around. It did always occur to me that she'd drawn the short straw there. Greth is happy to back me up here by saying that we've had a similar pendulum over our heads the entire time, and it would be right to ascend someone from right at the bottom of the hierarchy that exists here. A spooky ghost also feels that she's had a lack of opportunities compared to the other denizens of the void. As well as not being outwardly cruel, manipulative, naive, militant or immature, she's really just as helpful as can be, as non-Euclidean Cat says. When she's harsh, it's really just in a kick our ass into shape kind of way. He also mentions how horrible it would feel to be bound constantly, and I can sympathise with that. Kachamar feels that she suffered the most too, and pendulums aside, her brother is Triumphator. Can you imagine the din that would echo through that tower? Finally, Theme Music C considers more the world that would be created than the immediate dangers, mainly based on the aesthetics of the tower, which he particularly enjoys. With someone so helpful having resigned themselves to a great deal of suffering, it could create a world with a heightened sense of karma, which may lead to a lot of self-flagellation, but that might be just what the new world needs to prevent future mistakes. This music track is one of the more livelier in the game, and it doesn't really fit with talking about Ima's plight, nor does it fit in with Aya either, but I'm going to go to the Pangolin's chamber or something after this. So, Aya, I didn't expect her to do this well. It may have seemed that I was presenting her with quite a bit of bias. Really, I was just trying to interpret what she was saying in a more positive light because she doesn't make it easy. Levelling the playing field, really. Aya is the second travelling sister, very crouched and feral when you meet her. Or she actually comes to you more than not, to beat some sense into you. And that really implies all you need to know about her character. She has certain traits which people responded to positively, one of which was her forcefulness and energy. It took a while for her to get her first vote. I said no, originally believed that he would be alone in his choice. But his opinion that her new world would be vibrant and energetic and well worth weighing against the risks of violence, temptation, and fear resonated with plenty of people. Great Zebu thought she represented the most creative force, despite how frustrating it was to talk to her. This sounds far more appropriate. Suomancer says that she represents what makes life worth living. Art, passion, love, even her negative traits are vital aspects of life. What is a life without the occasional bouts of anger? Creating a challenge, life cannot be predictable. A world cannot be fully regulated. Combine that with her unselfish nature, and creativity could truly thrive. I wouldn't be able to do much if I didn't occasionally devour these small creatures. That's the general point. Pessimistic mindsets can still, more often than not, lead to wonderful things. Aya, true to her slightly impatient, brisk nature, managed to get a lot of voters who gave just a couple of words. I like them. A big, detailed opinion is brilliant, but these have a good deal of impact, as well as being easier for me to recount. Rev Justin said, Aya, she is full of force and fire. Abyssal Lurker says Aya, because I fell for that raw, feral energy the instant I met her. Temple said Aya, because she's tough. I'm tired of all the moaning, scaredy cats women. I couldn't agree more there, Temple. Remember when I said gold and violet were quite scarce? Well, sometimes the game just gets this idea into its head and won't let go of it, even right at the very end. If you just roll with it and try and manage your colour sensibly, as always, you shouldn't need to rely on the handouts. We haven't had to so far. It won't stop us now. Dong Attack brings up Aya's outbursts and very strong opinions, but he also introduces another aspect of Aya that was well liked, as well as a very interesting theory. He says that she was most changed by the void,